Okay, it's time for us to begin our beginner's Hebrew language revision of lessons 25, 26, and 27 in preparation for the final exam. We're going to begin by going to God in prayer. Father in heaven, we pray a blessing upon this revision. We pray that you may help everyone to understand anything that they have not previously understood, and that each person will do well in both the preparations for the exam and in the exam itself. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, we're looking at lessons 25, 26, and 27, specifically in preparation for the final exam.
I found them.
Okay, lesson number 25 is dealing with the absolute and construct state of nouns. And this is the general objectives for this lesson. Number one, to examine nouns in their absolute state. Number two, to examine nouns in their construct state. These are the specific objectives of lesson 25. One, at the end of this lesson, the students will have identified words that are in the absolute state. Two, at the end of this lesson, the students will have identified words that are in the construct state. Now, here are examples of nouns in their absolute state. Number one, there is hu ish. Who is a personal subject pronoun that means he. Ish is a noun which means a man. So the translation of hu ish is he is a man. Now notice nothing is said further about this man. And so because ish stands by itself, without any further explanation, it is said to be in the absolute state. This noun, without any further addition to describe or explain who this man is said to be in the absolute state. So I've underlined ish in its absolute state. And notice there is no makef, a horizontal line that connects the noun to another noun. There is only ish by itself. So notice if you see a noun by itself and there is no makef, no horizontal line binding or connecting this noun to another noun, then we say that this noun is in its absolute state. Hu ish, he is a man. Ish stands by itself and does not depend on any other noun to explain or describe who this man is. The second example of words that are in the absolute state is this sentence, he, isha. He is a subject pronoun that is translated as she. And isha is a noun that means a woman, or it may mean a wife. He, isha, means she is a woman. Now notice there is no makef or horizontal line to the upper left-hand section of the last letter of this noun. And there is no other noun that comes after isha. It stands by itself. So there is no explanation as to who this woman is, or to who this wife or who this wife is. The word stands by itself and is therefore in the absolute state. The noun here is in the absolute state, just like ish. She is a woman. He, isha. The third example is who, ak. Who is the same as this one here. This is a subject pronoun, he. Who means he. Ak means brother. So who ak is, he is a brother. But we're not told whose brother he is. We're not told anything about him. Ak stands by itself without any further explanation or description, and is therefore in the absolute state. The fourth example is he akoth. He is the same as he there. It means she. And akoth is the way that the word sister is spelt. There is an addition of holem, that is the long O, and thao to ak to give the feminine form of ak. Ak is brother and akoth is sister. So he akoth means she is a sister, but we're not told that she's a sister of this person. We're not told anything else about sister. And so akoth is standing by itself without any additional explanation or description, and is therefore said to be in the absolute state. So this is how nouns in their absolute state look. They are by themselves, without any further word coming after them to add some more information about them. There is no line that is drawn to the left-hand side of the word, no line connecting it to another word for any further explanation or any further description. So when you have a word by itself, as these are, without any line joining this noun to another noun for further clarification as to who this man or that woman, this brother or that sister is, then it says that these nouns are in the absolute state. We're now looking at nouns in their construct state. Number one, hu, ish, Elohim. Now these words look familiar because in the previous set of sentences, number one says hu, ish. And in this second set of examples, we have hu, ish, but there's something different. Even though they start out being similar, there's something different about the ish. Notice that the ish is not standing by itself now. It is connected by this makef, which means binder or binding, M-A-Q-Q-E-P-H, makef, binding this noun to that noun. This other noun is Elohim, and the translation of Elohim is God. So the whole translation is, he is a man of God. So it is now telling us further who this man is. He is a man of God. In the Hebrew language, in the Old Testament, this was a technical term for a prophet. A man of God was a prophet. God spoke to that person and gave him a message or messages to deliver or to pass on to someone else or to a group of people. So we now know more about this man. So when you have this noun, ish, not standing by itself, the sentence does not end with ish, but the ish, that is man, is connected to another noun, which further clarifies or tells us who the man is. then we say that this noun is in the construct state. Now be very careful when you're answering questions. If you have to circle any noun that is in the construct state, include this line here. This line is important for identifying nouns that are in the construct state. But this line says that this noun is not all there is. There's another noun coming after it that will further explain who this ish is. And so in encircling the answer of words that are in the construct state, include the makaf, the binder, that which connects one noun to another. Who ish, and here's the line again, Elohim, he is a man of God. In number 2, we have he, Esheth, ha, atham. Now, he is the personal subject pronoun she. Esheth is how Isha looks in its construct state. So it is spelled differently. When you see it like this, you know it's in its construct state. Esheth. It's not like the previous slide in which you have Isha. When it is in its construct state, it is spelled like this. Esheth. Esheth. But in addition to that, we have the horizontal line placed to the left-hand side of the noun. And then you have the definite article, ha, and then you have another noun, atham. And the translation is, she is the wife of Adam. She is the wife of Adam. Or it could be translated, she is the wife of the man. She is the wife of the man. So now we know she's not just a wife, but she is the wife of a particular man. Okay, or if you want to put this as a proper noun, she's the wife of Adam. All right, so this is a noun in its construct state. Other words are added to it to explain the noun. The noun does not stand by itself. And when other words are added after the makaf to explain the noun, then that noun is in its construct state. It's getting ready for additional meanings to be added to it. Just like when you are constructing a building, before it is finished, it is in a state of construction. Okay, because other building blocks, more steel, more lumber is going to be added. So it's not finished. And until it is finished, we're saying that the building is under construction. So when you have a noun that is connected to another noun, we say that the noun is under construction because other nouns are going to be added to give some more information about the noun itself. He is a man of God, not just a man. She is the wife of Adam. She's not just the wife. Okay, do you have any questions about nouns in their absolute state and nouns in the construct state?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, let us move on to lesson 26. Possessive pronoun endings. Possessive means ownership. This laptop is mine, or my laptop, or my cell phone, or my laptop bag, or my cell phone case, or my Bible. Possessive has to do with ownership and tells us to whom something belongs. Possessive. Pronoun, of course, is a word that can be used in place of a noun. Possessive pronoun endings. The general objectives for lesson 26 are: 1, to examine the possessive pronoun endings. 2, to examine where the possessive pronoun endings are placed on nouns. The specific objectives for lesson 26 are: 1, at the end of this lesson, the students will have been able to write the possessive pronoun endings. 2, at the end of this lesson, the students will have been able to write the possessive pronoun endings at the end of nouns. So here are the different endings in the Hebrew for the possessive pronouns. The first person singular possessive pronoun ending may be used with either the masculine gender or the feminine gender. So it can be used with both genders in the Hebrew grammar. And here is how it looks. It's a long hirik or long I, pronounced E, and in English, it is the possessive pronoun my. The second person singular, masculine gender, possessive pronoun ending is eka, consisting of the simple shua, one dot over the other, kaf. This is how kaf looks when it comes at the end of a word. And kaf has that KH sound. The simple shua has a short S sound, like in because, B-E-C-A-U-S-E, pronounced quickly. And in the kaf, there is a kames, which is a long ah sound. So it is eka, eka. This is a second person singular, masculine gender, possessive pronoun ending. And in Old English, we would say thy. In modern English, we would say your, Y-O-U-R, referring to someone who is in the masculine gender or something that is in the masculine gender. In the second person singular, feminine gender, possessive pronoun ending, the possessive pronoun ending consists of the long vowel sire, pronounced like an A, but spelt with an E in English, with a horizontal line over it to say that it is a long E sound. It's like the E in W-E-I-G-H-T, wait, which has an A sound instead of the usual E sound. So it's A, this is kaf again, K-H, and in the kaf is a simple shua. So ek is the pronunciation. This is the second person singular, feminine gender, possessive pronoun ending, translated in the Old English as thy, in modern English as your or your, Y-O-U-R. Then there is a third person singular, masculine gender, possessive pronoun ending. And it is a wow with a dot over it. And it's a long O sound. O with a horizontal line over it means that this is a long O sound. When you see this ending at the end of a noun, it means that it is his, his. Then there is a third person singular, feminine gender, possessive pronoun ending, consisting of kames, which is a long ah, and he, which is an H, and there is a mapik, which looks like a dagesh, whether lene or forte, but it is not any of those. The purpose of this dot in the middle of he is to bring out the sound of the hey or the H. So it has an ah sound, and it means her. It's a possessive pronoun, her. Then we come to the plural section of the possessive pronoun endings. The first person plural may be used with both a masculine gender noun and a feminine gender noun. And it is spelt as follows. You have the accent indicated by the arrow mark, the arrowhead. Underneath it, you have long sire, which is a long E, pronounced like our A. And this is emphasized. A, this line going up is to say that this is to be emphasized, A. This is noon, corresponding to our English N. And this is shurek, the long U sound, corresponding to our U, which is long, the horizontal line over the U. It is pronounced anu, 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 and it is translated as the possessive pronoun our, our. The second person plural masculine gender possessive pronoun ending is spelled like this. You have the simple schwa, which is a quick e. There is a kaf. The kaf, when it's not at the end of a word, has this semicircular shape. And when there is no dot in the middle of it, it has a KH spelling. So you have KH. Then underneath the kaf is the segol, which looks like an upside down triangle. To the Hebrews, to the Israelites, it looks like a cluster of grapes hanging down from a vine, because they have a lot of those in Israel. And so it looks like a cluster of grapes hanging down from the vine. It's pronounced as a short E sound, eh. And then mem. This is how mem looks when it comes at the end of a word. Mem, corresponding to our English M. So it is ekem, ekem. And this is translated as your. But this time, this is plural. And in grammars, they love to use the Old English second person singular thy to distinguish it from the second person plural your. In modern English, they are all spelled the same. So you have ekem, your. And notice the mem, how I remember the difference between the masculine gender and the feminine gender in the second person plural and in the third person plural is that the masculine gender is, I'm reminded of the masculine gender by the mem. Mem is our M, and M is the first letter in the word masculine. And how I remember feminine is the use of the N in the word feminine. So you have eken, your, when referring to someone who is of the female gender, whether someone or something. Then am is third person plural, masculine, and it means there. And third person plural, feminine, an means there. So you have e, my, eka, thy, ek, thy, o, his, a, her, enu, our, ekem, your, eken, your, am, there, an, there. So these are the possessive pronouns that come at the end of nouns. And here are examples of this. So you have Seuss. Seuss by itself is horse. But when you have the first person singular, which is used with both a masculine gender noun and also a feminine gender noun, you have Susi, which means not just horse, but my horse, showing possession. My horse. This is the noun, Seuss, and this is the possessive pronoun, which shows whose horse it is. Susie, my horse. Then sus again is horse, but when you add the possessive pronoun eka, which is the second person singular masculine gender possessive pronoun ending, it becomes thy horse or your horse when you're referring to someone who is male or something that is male. Then susake, notice the possessive pronoun ending is a second person singular feminine gender possessive pronoun ending. Ake means thy, susake means thy horse. Suso, sus is horse, but when you have the holem and the dot above, when you have the long holem, which is what this is, coming at the end of sus, it is his horse, suso, his horse. When you have kamis he with the mapik or dot in the center of he, coming at the end of sus, it's not just horse, but her horse, susa. When you have sus followed by the possessive pronoun ending, which is first person plural, which can be used with both the masculine gender noun and the feminine gender noun, you have susenu, which means our horse. Then when you have susaken, susakem, it's not just horse, but your horse, plural. When you have susaken, it's your horse, plural. When you have susam, it's their horse. And when you have susan, it means their horse. So these are the possessive pronoun endings that are placed at the end of a noun and tells us to whom the noun belongs, whether it is my or thy or his or her or our or your or their. It tells us to whom this noun belongs. We now come to the final lesson we studied for this last term in this year. We're looking at object pronoun. We're not looking now at possessive pronoun, but object pronoun. And these are also endings. They're placed at the end of nouns and also at the end of prepositions. In this lesson, we focused on two prepositions, the preposition lamet, which means to or for, and the preposition beit, which means in, with, or by. In this lesson, we focused on certain meanings. So in lamet, we focused on the meaning to, and in beit, we focused on the meaning in. So I will be sticking to those two. To for lamet and in for beit. The general objective for lesson 27 is to examine the object pronoun endings. And these are specific objectives. Number one, at the end of this lesson, the students will have been able to write the object pronoun endings. Two, at the end of this lesson, the students will have been able to translate into English the object pronoun endings. Three, at the end of this lesson, the students will have been able to distinguish between the meaning of the possessive pronoun endings and the meaning of the object pronoun endings. Okay, so let us look at the object pronoun endings. Some of them look almost, some of them are identical in spelling and in pronunciation to the possessive pronoun endings, and some of them are similar in appearance, but they are slightly different. And in the translation of these object pronoun endings, the translation is completely different from the possessive pronoun translation. So you have the long hirik consisting of the yod and this dot, and it is the long E, the long I, pronounced E, but instead of it being translated as my, which is what it is translated as in the possessive pronoun ending, it is translated as me. That is the object pronoun, and it is used for both masculine and feminine genders. Eka looks just the same as the possessive pronoun ending, but is translated different. Eka means thee instead of thy. In the possessive pronoun translation, it was translated as thy, but in the object pronoun, it is thee. In modern English, this would be you singular. And this applies to the masculine gender, eka. Ak. Now this is similar to ek. The difference is with kamis. Instead of having a sire, a long sire, which is an a sound, there is a kamis, which is a long ah sound. So instead of having ek, we have ak, ak, and it's translated as thee instead of thy. This is when you're using it in reference to the feminine gender. This looks just like the possessive pronoun ending, third person singular, masculine gender, and it is pronounced the same way, o, but instead of translating it as his, which is the possessive pronoun translation, the object pronoun translation is him, masculine gender. This looks the same like in the possessive pronoun ending, and it's pronounced the same, ah, but the translation, let me go back for that translation. Okay, well, in this case, both of them are translated the same, her. Both of them are translated the same. So, in the possessive pronoun is her, and in the object pronoun is also her, feminine gender. Now, in the possessive pronoun ending, this was sire, and there was an accent here over it, and it was pronounced enu and translated as our. But in the object pronoun, instead of sire, we have kamis, which is a long and it is pronounced anu, which means us instead of our. And it's used with both the masculine and feminine gender nouns. Again, in the possessive pronoun ending, this was a simple schwa and pronounced ekem. But in the object pronoun, it's a kamis and it's pronounced akem, translated as you, not as the possessive pronoun your, but the object pronoun you, plural, masculine gender. Similarly, possessive pronoun ending was a simple schwa here, but in the object pronoun, it is a kamis, pronounced aken, aken, and translated as you instead of the possessive pronoun your, used with the feminine gender noun. And something else that is similar but different, in the possessive pronoun ending, you simply had you had but in this case, in the object pronoun, you have a he in between. So it's ahem, ahem, them instead of their. There is possessive, but them is object. Ahen, instead of an, you have ahen, which is them instead of the possessive pronoun there. So these are the object pronouns. You have me instead of my, thee instead of thy, Him instead of is. Her remains the same for both the possessive and the object pronoun ending. You have us instead of our, you instead of your, them instead of their. Now let us compare them. These are the possessive pronoun endings on the left-hand side, and these are the object pronoun endings on the right-hand side. First singular, E is my, and first singular, E is me. Second singular masculine is eka, which is thy. Second person singular masculine, eka, is thee. Second person singular feminine gender is ek, which is thy. Second person singular feminine gender is ak, which is thee. Third person singular masculine is o, which is his. Third person singular masculine gender is o, which is him. Third person singular feminine gender is a, which is her. Third person singular feminine gender, a, is her also. Then in the plural section, in the plural section, we have lost Brother Solin, but I'm sure he will soon come back. In the plural section, we have enu, which is our. And in the object pronoun, it's anu, which means us. Second person plural is ekem for the masculine, eken for the feminine, and they're translated as your. But in the object pronoun endings, you have akem, which is you, aken, which is you, masculine gender and feminine gender. And in the third person plural masculine and feminine, you have which is translated as their. But in the object pronoun endings, you have ahem, which is them, masculine gender, and ahen, feminine gender, translated them instead of their. All right, so this is what you need to focus on with lesson 27. You look at the object pronoun endings and be able to compare the similarities and differences between the possessive pronoun endings and the object pronoun endings. Do you have any question on this?
No, but about it.
Okay. Now, you already have this revision PowerPoint lesson, so next week, I have not been given the timetable as yet, but I suppose it might be ready today or the latest Wednesday. But make sure that you start to prepare for your different final exams and use the revision PowerPoint that I've given you for each course in preparing yourselves for the final exam.
Yes, yes. Very good. Yes, very well. Okay.
All right, so we will end at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I will see you, God willing, in the afternoon at 2:30
Yes.
for the review of
Yes,
the
yes.
beginners of apologetics preparations for the final exam.